Okay guys, just a real quick video. This is the SE6 knife. This is one of my cornerstone. It's kind of one that I judge other knives by. It's been reliable with. It's been reliable for me. We kind of have a love-hate relationship. There's tons of great things I love about this, and then there's other things I just hate. I've had this knife for 4 or 5 years, really long time. This has seen a lot of use. I've tried to like clean it up. I've gotten some rust and whatnot and clean it up and everything. But this isn't going to be a review. I just want to go over a few modifications that I made that has made this knife perfect. I'm still missing my last modification because I'm going to do it myself, which I'll elaborate on in a second. So, the first change I made, as you can probably see, is it comes with a blade coating, which makes sense because it's a 1095 high carbon blade and it rusts and discolors very easy. And a lot of people don't like that aspect. And despite just put some oil on it, some Tough Glide, WD-40, whatever you got, and keep that rust and prevent it from rusting. A lot of people don't like that aspect. So it makes sense that they put the blade coating on because it protects the blade, and then for people that don't like it, they can take it off instead of selling it like this, and then people that want the blade coating somehow doing it themselves. So I understand why they put the blade coating on. A lot of people don't understand why people take the coating off their knives. Personally, for me, it's mostly performance because, whether it's carving, processing wood, that coating, at least for me, it just created a lot of drag. And then it's just compounded by the fact that this is a full flat grind. Some knives with a saber grind, you can get away with a blade coating because that saber grind kind of lessens the drag. But for this, having a full flat grind plus blade coating, for me the performance wasn't that good. And then another reason is, especially processing down like pine, spruce, fir, stuff like that, really sappy woods, all that sap would get stuck to the blade coating. So, what are you going to do? You have to clean it up somehow. So then I would end up like sanding it off, and it won't get all the sap and residue off. And then if I wanted to get all of it off, it would start digging into the blade coating. So eventually I'm like, what's the point of this blade coating? So I took it off, and what I found out is because this is a very smooth surface, even though it's more prone to rust, that those tree saps and everything, they clean off a lot quicker because the pores of the metal, by polishing it up, you're kind of closing the surface pores of the metal, which think of it kind of as a non-stick pan. The sap and whatnot can't catch as well, if that makes sense. So cleaning this blade up, it made it a lot easier. And also, which is important, I do like the looks of this more. I just used a chemical stripper, and then I used, I believe, like 240 grit, 400 grit, and then 1,000 grit. So this is 1,000 grit right here, and it's shiny enough for me. There's the next modification, which I was kind of leery of doing. I put it off for a long time. Is and for some of you, you might not be able to tell. Some of you might think I just polished this handle. What I did, the problem I found with the stock handle is it was very rectangle like, and it had not sharp 90-degree corners, but 90-degree corners and then rounded off. And my problem is, with all knives, especially the fixed blades, I take it and I just squeeze it really hard. And if I start feeling kind of pressure or kind of a burning sensation right along here and right along here. I know for a fact that with extended use, it's going to give me troubles, whether it's hot spots, calluses, blisters. So, when I first got this, I did that, and I didn't really like the results, but I liked a lot of the other things about this knife, so I decided to keep it. Now, I will tell you straight off the bat, if you're not a super DIY, and you don't like doing projects and whatnot, and you like just throwing money at a problem, the knifeconnection.com, they sell aftermarket handle scales. I believe they're G10, they may be Micarta, but they're reprofiled almost exactly like this. When it comes to knife handles, it's really hard because everybody has, some people have really small petite hands, some people, I wear double X gloves and I almost fill this whole handle up. To other people, the handle on this knife might feel extremely big. To me, it actually feels a little small. So it's nearly impossible. It is impossible to make a handle that is comfortable for everybody. So they kind of make a generic one size fits most type handle. So it's not perfect for anybody, but it's all right for the largest amount of people. But like I said, personally, I didn't find it comfortable. So this modification, you don't even have to be a super handy type person. But what I did, I got these from Harbor Freight. And what they are 1" by 30" sanding belts, 120 grit, aluminum oxide for finishing wood. Okay, this is one of the belts. It's 30 inches all the way around by 1 inch wide. Now, I do use sheets of sandpaper. The problem I find with them is they wear out quick, and you cut it and all that stuff. This is the backing on it's like an emery cloth. It's cloth. It's like a fiber cloth. All I did is I flipped it like this, okay? So it's inside out. And then okay, I had this clamped. I did it out in my workshop, and I'm not going to repeat it now because I already did it. But I had this clamped to the table, which, okay, it's going to be hard to illustrate. But just picture this clamped to the table. Then I took this belt like this, put it around the handle, starting up here and work my way down this way, doing a sawing motion back and forth. Just back and forth, and you'll see right away you'll start generating tons of dust from the micarta, and it takes the material off super quick. So you do it, you flip it over, you do this side. Now my gauge, because I'm kind of a perfectionist, I didn't want like one side more or one side different than the other. And it will be kind of hard to describe, but you'll see. I just sanded until I saw that I sanded all the way to like a 1/16 inch away from the liners, all the way from up to down. And you'll be able to tell what you sanded and what you haven't. So I sanded about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe even a 1/32 inch away from the tang on both sides, both top and bottom. And then I was done with this. That took me about 15, not even that, yeah, maybe 10-15 minutes. And then I just went up to 400 grit and I did that same thing. And then I went to 1000 grit, did that same thing. And I sanded the slabs or the sides a little bit. But that was one of my most important modifications. I didn't do it for style, but as it turns out, I like how the handles look more now. And when I grip it now, it is 10,000 times more comfortable than how it came out of the box. So that was just a quick, 5-minute life hack tip that you can use, not just for this knife, for any knife that, a lot of knives that come with the square handles, like the RTAC 2, the Esee Hunglis, almost any of the Esees, most of them come with very boxy handles, so you can do that same trick, round it off. And then another mod that I did is I brought this along a belt sander like this. Okay, the belt's coming down, and I just dragged it across, trying to maintain a 90 degree. And what that did is it took away the rounded corners that they put on the spine of this knife. What that means is this is just a ferrocerium rod. It's a cheap one. I think I got it off Amazon or something like that. But now this thing, okay, let me zoom up. I zoomed out the camera a little bit. Now this thing showers sparks like crazy. Okay. Okay, as you can see, it makes it. As you can see, it makes it a lot more effective, and then that way you don't have to look around for something to strike these with. The other advantage is, like on bark or like on wood, you can actually use this, and it generates a lot of dry, fine fluff. So you can do that, get kind of a handful of it, put it on the ground, and then use your knife again and start your fire. The last modification, which I have not done yet, is I'm going to replace the sheath. Like I said, I don't want this to be a review. I don't want to just be bitching about all like the shitty parts of this knife. But this is probably the worst part of the knife. It has nothing to do with how I modded the handles, because it rattled before and after I modded the handles. And when I modded the handles, I didn't really touch any of this. I smoothed them a little bit, but as you can see, all up here is original. But it rattles. Oh yeah, the blade's wet now because I washed the sheath out. So what I am going to be doing, which stay tuned, but I am going to try my hand at making homemade Kydex sheaths. I'm going to sheath up all my knives. Just practice. It looks like fun, and the amount of money I invested in, Kydex press and the Kydex and materials to make like 10 sheaths, I invested about the same amount as getting one high quality sheath from a quality manufacturer. So I like doing, so I'm the type of person I like doing projects, taking projects on, stuff like that, especially if it saves me money. It just keeps me busy and everything. So I'm going to try my hand at that. And I was going to wait to make this video till after I made the sheath, but I just wanted to get this video out there, and then in a week, 2 weeks or so, I might show you, depending on how good it looks, I might show you the Kydex sheath that I made. But again, I hope you like this video, hope you like this content. If you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, until the next video, we'll see you out there. Keep your knives sharp.